Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. This is Michael Wader, and I'm the president of the local Rotary Club. We would like to invite all of you for showing up. Thank you very, very much. We always are happy to see our friends from around the world. Usually we wind up having around 25 to 30 people from about 7 different countries, which is capable only now because of Zoom. Before that, our meetings were visited by some of you from other countries, but not so many people at one time. Zoom has allowed us to reach out to the world and bring them into Saint Petersburg to enjoy our hospitality and our good speakers. We have tried to come up with several good speakers, which we have had success at and will continue. Tonight is going to be another interesting one because this man's going to take you to the backside of the moon. I don't know if you've ever been to the backside of the moon before, but he's going to take you to the backside of the moon tonight. So it ought to be an interesting trip. We're looking forward to his presentation. As we get into this year of 2021, many of our friends around the world are celebrating Chinese New Year's very soon. It'll be on the 12th. So starting around the 11th night, you're going to see an awful lot of ruckus around the world coming from the Chinese. So we should wish them a very, very happy New Year and hope that they progress. What we hope not happens. We hope not that their pandemic issues increase because of people socializing and getting together. Unfortunately, that has happened a lot of places. At our Western Christmas, our Western New Year's, we have all seen it increase. Hopefully it's gone down for a while for us, and hopefully they'll get through it without having too much of a problem over there. But we just need to recognize that we do have friends, Rotarians around the world, including in China. And I know Randall, who's with us, our secretary tonight, used to really have a hell of a good time on Chinese New Year's because he was in Shanghai and they know how to do it right there. So sometimes it gets a little extended and gets a little bit overboard, but that's the way life is. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago about Chinese New Year's. They said, Michael, did you ever celebrate it? And I said, well, several times, but the one I remember the most is 1971 in Taiwan, in a small town where our American military base was. And in the middle of the street, we lit fireworks, not little fireworks, but big fireworks, so big that it knocked out the electricity. And exploded, was loud, but we were drinking beer and having fun and celebrating the New Year, so we really didn't care. And that was one of my first experiences at a Chinese New Year's. So I know we all have different experiences in different parts of the world for New Year's, for celebrations, for holidays. I would only encourage you that when you have those holidays, please be safe because we need everybody back. We don't want to lose anybody. But it's this time of the year that our friends in China and Chinese around the world celebrate their time. So if you see them, wish them a Happy New Year. If you know how to do it in their language, Gong Xi Fa Cai, Xin Kuai Le. If you know how to say those things, please do. If you don't, just say China, just say Happy New Year's and they'll know what you mean, okay? All right, so those are my opening comments this evening as president. And I would like to go forward and talk to, have our secretary come on board. And if our secretary will please give us our comments and information you have as our secretary. Mr. Randall, will you take it over, please?
Mr. Michael, President Vader, or Mr. Vader, President Michael, allow me to share my screen. I have a few notes to share with everybody. Let's play this. So, Secretary's notes for today, the 10th of February, 2021. Next page. Come on, next page. Let's go. Okay, first thing I want to tell you is that our past district governor, Nadezhda Pap, just received a Service Above Self Award. You may have heard of this, you may not have heard of this. This is Rotary's highest award. It is actually, it's a competitive award. I think each year 100 awards are given out around the world. And in order to receive this award, the district governor must propose someone. And our district proposed that past district governor Nadezhda from Moscow East Club be awarded the Service Above Self award, and she was. So that's a very, very big thing. Second point, we are invited on the 13th of February, which is this Saturday, to join a joint meeting of Rotarians from Saint Petersburg and Paris, hosted by the France-Russia ICC. So ICC is an inter-country committee, and it has the France-Russia ICC has two heads, Isa Tovo and Bertrand Baranovsky, and they're inviting us to join this meeting this Saturday at 7 o'clock our time. And if anybody wants, at the end of this meeting, I'll share the links. If you want to, you have to register in order to join. And Walter, if you're on the line, can you please let Alexa into our meeting, please? He's in the waiting room.
Just did.
Next point, on Monday, we are invited to join Rotary Club of Moscow International, which is an English-speaking club. They will have a guest speaker, Frank Eisert, who will be speaking about blockchain for corporates. And this is something I think you can see that our friends in Moscow are having some really deep, profound speakers in the last couple of months with cutting edge business related topics. So we're all invited to join. Again, you have to register, ideally online, let them know, but the Zoom link is down below. And then next, between 19 and 21 February, the Volga Region District of Russia will be holding its annual regional regional assembly, which is a training assembly. On the first day, 19th of February, they're opening this up to anyone who wants to join. Again, there's a registration form. It will be held over Zoom, not over Microsoft Teams. And if you register, then you'll get information if you're accepted in order to be able to join. Russia has 5 different districts because it is so big. Our districts, 5 different regions within the district. This is an experiment within Rotary to try a bit of an alternative governorship leadership structure. And so there is a regional director for the Volga region. And also, of course, our district governor, Ildis, will be present at this event. And he encouraged us last week to come and join if we can. So more information you can see through the link. We're invited again. So we've been invited to visit Rotary Club of Modin in Israel, which I just looked up before this meeting. Felix, who has been to our club many times, to our online meetings, invited us to hold a joint St. Petersburg Rotary, Modin Rotary meeting on the 23rd of February. So Michael is considering this. I thought it would be interesting to show you where is Modin. So I don't know much about the history, but it has obviously a long, long history. It is located quite close to Jerusalem. And if we join the meeting on the 23rd, then their club will present something about the history of their club and could be very interesting. On the 3rd of March, our very own past president, Alexander Saboni, sorry, I misspelled his name here. His name is Siboni, who was past president in 2007-8. He will give a presentation about the origins of our club. Our club is not as old as Natalia's club, which she told us is 27 years old, but we're also not a young club. We were started in 2004. And he has been a regular visitor to our online meetings, and he is a charter member of the club. So in a good position to tell us how our club started. Announcement from the district that just came through today. There is a RYLA, a Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, that takes place every year in our district. It was planned to be from the end of April into the first week of May, but because of COVID, they have just announced that they're going to have to turn it into an online meeting. So they've changed the dates. And the dates have been changed to the 10th to the 11th of April. And RYLA is for young people, typically under the age of 30, if not younger. It happens over several days. Last point, please, if you're liking us, please like us on our social media. So we have a presence on many social media. It would help us if you can share the news that we exist so that we can have more people come and join our meetings. And we appreciate all of you who are coming from other clubs. Thank you very much. Back to you, President Michael.
Thank you, Randall. Appreciate that. And as you can see, we're being invited to lots of different places. We're not sure about the 23rd. If we decide to go to the joint meeting on the 23rd, we will not meet on the 24th. I'll talk about our meeting, our planned meetings at the end of our presentation, like I do every week, and talk about what's going to be coming up. But we have an opportunity to go have a joint meeting with the folk, with Felix and his people in Israel. So our members, our regular members, will discuss that and decide if we want to go there or not. I'm going to go as a guest speaker. If the club doesn't go, I'm still going to be going as a guest speaker. So I'll be going forward, but maybe the rest of the club would like to come. We'll talk about that. We've got a few more people who have joined us since we were giving our announcements, and welcome to those who just came on board, Sherry and Alexi and a few other folks. So hang on, we're going to be getting on with our guest speaker here in just a couple minutes. We have received from some of you on the screen, we have received announcements of people that you would recommend that we have as speakers. We are excited about the fact that you're providing us with the names and contacts. Between Randall and I contacting them, we are getting some very good speakers to come to our presentations so that we can draw a larger crowd from around the world. Please keep them coming. If you know somebody that you have heard, somebody you have seen give a presentation, you were excited about them, it can be about Toastmasters, it can be about Rotary, it can be about their occupation as we have tonight with Reinhard. It can be any of these issues. We would be happy to have them contact us. We'll talk to them and find out if there's an interest. But we're trying to give you a diversified selection of speakers. And we've had some very high speakers in Rotary, ex-presidents, ex-directors, and so forth of the past. And these people are super. I don't know how many of you know Heidi Kühn. She's a lady who is removing mines from around the world, landmines. She did get COVID virus, her husband and her children. She was in the hospital for a few weeks. She is out, she's doing well, she's healthy again, and everything is fine for everybody in her family. But she was one of our earlier speakers here with us. And I know several of you saw her then, but she has recovered and is doing fine again. So just a little feedback or information for you folks. This evening, we have a guest speaker. This young man has been around for a little while. Well, he's not old because he's younger than me, and anybody younger than me is old. So you're younger than me, Reinhard, okay? Reinhard has got a very interesting story that he's going to tell us tonight. Now, I was asking him about hobbies, and he was talking about stereo and high fidelity music and so forth. Yes. That is something that I enjoy, but I only enjoy it when it's 1965 to 1974 rock and roll turned up loud so that it deafens my ears, and then I can enjoy it. So otherwise, I'm not into stereo so much, but he is. It's one of his big hobbies. And Reinhard was in the banking industry and retired, but he's been a radio operator for many long years. And he has his own handle, DK5LA. When I seen that, Reinhard, I was wondering if you were from Los Angeles, but you're not from Los Angeles. So I thought maybe DK from LA. No, not quite right.
Okay.
But he is into the radio systems, and not just a little bit. Many ham operators and other folks are into it a little bit. He is into it extremely deeply. And he doesn't worry about just talking to his fellow Germans or Western people. He was negotiating and talking with the Chinese halfway around the world, a different culture, a different language, a different perspective of life. So I'm very interested to hear his story and to find out how this German matched up with the Chinese and what the results were. I'm sure they were successful, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it. But I'm also sure it took an awful lot of work and giving on both sides in order to make it actually happen, which is sometimes difficult because some of us on the screen here have dealt with Chinese before. I know I did for almost 43 years, so I can tell you it sometimes is difficult. So we will look forward to what he has to say. His title of his presentation, let me get it on the screen for you here just one moment so that you can see what it is. I will find it. Where am I here? I'm lost as usual. And whoops, one. Oh, you can see here that he gazes to the sky. Now he looks up, he doesn't see just the sky, he also sees the moon. And you can see the antenna array that's behind his head. Amateur radio, he supported the Chinese moon mission as Longjiang 2 ground station. So I would like to welcome Reinhard Kühn to the forefront. Reinhard, we're going to turn it over to you, and we're interested in hearing what you have to say. It's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. President Michael Wader. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. Greetings from Germany. I hope that you will enjoy my PowerPoint presentation about the participation in the Chinese moon mission.
Walter, can you show it?
Please give me the first cover.
Yes, I'm going to interfere. One quick question to everyone, guys, that you're not annoyed how we're going to run this. I'm going to support Reinhard by presenting the slides, and Gabi and myself will help also with some translation issues, just that you're aware of that. We've got Reinhard as the main speaker, and we're going to support him. So I'm going to share the slides now, and Reinhard's going to go ahead and tell how everything's running.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
Reinhard, to you.
The Chinese successfully landed on the backside of the moon in January 2019. You will certainly remember this event. On the picture, you can see the moon lander Chang'e 4. To the left is the lunar rover. At the top of the picture, you can see the satellite Kuchao. A direct connection from the Earth to the backside of the moon is not possible. A relay is required for this. My presentation relates to preparatory mission of May 2018, in which the relay satellite Kuchao and Longjiang 2 satellites were to be placed in the lunar orbit. Of course, I did not participate in the moon landing. Surely you are wondering how could it be possible that a radio amateur can become a member of a Chinese lunar mission. My hobby and my big antenna are the reason for it. I will talk about it later. Thank you. For more than 50 years, I have been a radio amateur with a call sign Delta Kilo 5 Lima Alpha. On the picture, you can see my antenna system. Next, please. In 1969, read I a book about the first Earth-Moon-Earth connection in the USA. I was so fascinated by the subject that I decided to build a larger antenna to make connections via the moon. It took me a few more years to build up this 160 element antenna. The dimensions of the antenna were 12 by 7 meters. I was one of the few stations in the world that could make such connections. Next. On the picture, you can see my current antenna. At the top of the tower is a 260 element antenna for the 2 meter band. The dimensions are 13 by 10 by 5 meters, as big as a small house. During storms, I was always afraid that the antenna would be destroyed. What luck, the antenna is still on the tower. Next, please. To illustrate the size of my antenna construction, you can see the top of the tower with a slewing ring of Marder tank was mounted. In order to be able to perform an accurate direction control, it takes 18 minutes, excuse me, until a 360-degree revolution has taken place. The accuracy of the horizontal and vertical direction control is 0.1 degrees. Please, the next. Earth-Moon-Earth radio connection are radio waves sent from the Earth to the Moon. These transmitting signals are reflected from the lunar surface and received back to the Earth by stations with special equipment. Earth-Moon-Earth radio contacts are also called moonbounds. This allows worldwide radio communications between radio amateurs. Due to the distance attenuation, the signal received on Earth are very weak. You will hear an example of a signal I sent to the Moon that traveled 380,000 kilometers to the Moon and the same distance to the Earth, a total of 760,000 kilometers. Due to the speed of light, the radio signals are delayed. They can be heard again after about 2.6 seconds as an echo. This is similar radar echoes. You will now hear the voice echo by the Moon. The next, please. Walter, könntet ihr hören? Also hier kommt nichts an.
Oh,
sorry.
Alles klar. Nochmal.
Ich höre hier keinen Ton.
Gabi, du auch nicht?
Musst du den Ton zuschalten vielleicht?
Okay, give me a second. It's good that you hear this because I'm listening to it. Hold on. We want that to happen. Hold on. Okay, please let me know if you still don't hear anything. Now I start again.
Okay. Yes.
Ja.
Der K5LA hier. Der K5 Lima Alpha Lima. Das ist der K5LA. Hier ist Delta Kilo 5 Lima Alpha. Der K5LA. Der K5 Lima Alpha hier. Hier ist der K5LA via Mond. Der K5LA 800.000 Kilometer Distanz. Ist 2, der K5 Lima Alpha.
Reinhard, you go ahead.
Yes, okay. Communication via the moon in speech is really possible. The signal strengths are so low that only radio stations with a large antenna have the option. More successful is are radio connections in telegraphy, Morse code, or with new digital modes. On the change is a bar display on the transceiver. You can see the received echo signal quality. Next, please. Nochmal klicken. Okay, next please.
Reinhard, was haben wir genau eben gehört? Was war das?
Wir haben zuerst das Gesendesignal gehört, danach die Reflexion vom Mond, die lauter war, als die sich hier lauter anhört als das gesendete Signal. An dem Instrument von diesem Transceiver sieht man am Ausschlag, wie laut die Signale waren.
Okay, so that means that these were actually the signals which were sent from Earth, via the receiver to the moon, and they were coming back receiving these signals. So there is a stable connection.
Yes. Gut, noch eine Frage, Gabi, oder? Okay. Perhaps you've never heard such echoes. If you ever visit the moon and take a walkie-talkie with you, smooth communication would be possible. SpaceX will soon make it visit to the moon possible.
SpaceX, we're looking forward to it, yes.
Next, please.
There we go.
In May 2018, Long March 4C rocket from Xi'an Space Center, China, launched the Kuchao satellite in the moon orbit. Kuchao enables communication between the Chang'e 4 lunar lander and the ground station in China as a satellite relay. Kuchao was positioned so that he can always see the backside of the moon and the Earth. That is number 10. In addition of the relay satellites, the DSLW-P/A and B, also call it Longjiang 1 and 2, launched into space. The two satellites were supposed to orbit the moon. Due to a control error, Longjiang 1 missed the orbit and was lost in the space. For experience, only Longjiang 2 was available. The satellite orbited the moon at a distance of 350 by 13,700 kilometers. This is an elliptic orbit. Next, please. As a scientific main task, the satellite should explore the sky in the range 1 to 30 megacycles. The backside of the moon is used as a shield to suppress the interference radiation from the Earth, so the radio astronomical explorations with a built-in interferometer can be always carried out in space without any interferences. The spectrum of all radio signals received from Earth were also measured in the lunar orbit. A camera developed by the students of the Harbin University took the pictures. The in beacons and the call the Bravo BJ1SN, Bravo Juliet 1 Sierra November, we say. The relay also enabled an Earth satellite Earth communication. Now again, how could it be that a radio amateur became ground station of the Chinese mission? In January 2018, there were a cooperation between the Chinese and cameras with the Dwingelo radio telescope in the Netherlands. The abbreviation means C.A. Müller Radio R. Astronomy point in Dwingelo. The Dutch should receive and evaluate the data sent from the Earth sent from the Earth as a downlink ground station. This even thought the moon was no longer visible in China. Since the Dwingelo radio telescope could not send, somebody was needed to send from Europe as an uplink station. The Dutch had remembered me because in 2017 we were able to rescue the satellite ZAREROSAT from the University of Stellenbosch in South Africa. I was asked if I could also send command signals to the Chinese satellite. My answer was, we can try. We can try it. Please the next. From the Harbin Institute, I received an email file to send to the satellite. Longjiang 2 had actually received the text message test DK5LA and sent it back to the ground stations. Hard to believe, now I was member of the Chinese mission team. Next. This image shows the antennas of the mission team. Yes, you can a little moment wait. Okay, in the foreground, you can see Hua Shuaran on the left side and Ming Shang Wei. Wei leads and coordinated this satellite project. Please the next. These students were very committed. They often worked 15 hours on the day on the camera project. They have fun, I think. Here we see the team from the Dwingelo radio telescope. From left, Jan van Muelwijk, responsible for the Dwingelo radio telescope. Kees Bassa, professional radio astronomer from Astron. Tamojan Daikema, mathematician, software engineer, and also from Astron. Astron is a Dutch astronomy research institute. The main receiving station was Harbin in China, with an antenna in Harbin and a 12-meter radio telescope in Beijing, and the Dwingelo, a 25 meters radio telescope in the Netherlands. The University of Wakayama in Japan was also present with its 12-meter radio telescope. Task included receiving satellite telemetry, data, image, communication signals, as well as evaluating the data. The test series were coordinated by Wei Mingshang in China. In absence, Dwingelo took over these tasks. For me, it was important to know if the transmit satellite commands of Longjiang 2 were accepted. In case of unaccepted commands, I have transmit to again. During the satellite runtime, my station was the only one besides Harbin who owned the satellite K and was allowed to transmit commands to Longjiang 2. Since my signal arrived better at the satellite, I took over 80% of the transmission task. This was due, in fact, that the satellite receiver was very insensitive. The comments from China could often not receive by the satellite. Next. Here you can see another photo of my antenna. I needed this antenna to become a team member of the moon mission. Next, please. In October 2018, the first photo from the backside of the moon and the Earth in the background was taken. The team called it the first selfie from the space. Next, please. Shortly before the launch of Chang'e 4 lunar lander, we sent a message from space to mission. Hi, CE4, good landing. This symbolic message is unique in the history of space flight. After this, we had to stop testing Longjiang 2 by mid-January. In January 2019, the Chinese needed all the capacity for the CE4 mission. Next. On January 13, 2019, we made a picture that received worldwide attention. This was the first time we have seen the whole backside of the moon with the Earth in the background. A perspective has not been possible before. The Chinese think it's the most beautiful photo of the mission. They call it God's perspective. The image sparked a radio press wave. Highlights were the article in the Science and the publication at the Planetary Society. Next, please. Okay.
Darf ich ganz kurz sagen, weiter, man sieht auf der rechten Seite so ein graues Band. Das heißt, man kann nicht alles sehen.
Ja, das habe ich hier auch.
Wieso sagt ihr mir das denn nicht, was ihr seht?
What is the comment, Walter?
The comment is that there is a gray something on the screen, so not the entire screen can be seen. Yeah. I was not aware of that fact.
It's been that way the whole time. Just keep going. Don't worry. Now you got an extra one. Now you just added one. Just leave it alone and keep going. Okay. We don't have time to change it now.
Okay. Reinhard, du musst bitte weitermachen. Wir können jetzt keine Zeit sozusagen darauf aufwenden, die Einstellungen zu nehmen.
The Dwingelo team has summarized the first newspaper articles and put them on the internet. Next, please. Weiter, ja. In February 2019, other similar images were taken. In total, there were more than 100 pictures, often from the lunar surface and from the darkness of space. Of course, there were also incomplete or overexposed images. After a year of cooperation, the Harbin Institute in China and DK5LA made the first Earth satellite Earth connection in the lunar orbit. This is the first communication ever made via a satellite in the lunar orbit. This is a new dimension in radio history. Next, please. The picture shows the mathematician Daniel Estevez during a lecture at the Harbin Institute of Technology. Daniel calculated a special image perspective from the beginning of July 2019. Please, the next. On July the 2nd, the weather satellite NOAA showed the shadow of the solar eclipse on the Earth. It was recorded 36,000 kilometers from Earth. The moment when the first picture slowly built up was the most exciting. What's next? We had taken a picture with solar eclipse over the South Pacific. Wow, that was a very big moment. This image was similar at the shot of the Earthrise by William Enders during the Apollo 8 orbiting the moon. What a special moment. We had taken the first new picture of rising Earth after about 50 years. Add to that the solar eclipse and Hurricane Barbara. Daniel Estevet's calculations have been confirmed. Next, please. You can see it even better in the picture. The dark shadow shows the solar eclipse. The bright spot to the right is Hurricane Barbara. This triggered an even bigger press wave. All the team members had a lot to do with radio interviews, television interviews, and newspaper reporters afterwards. Here's the next. On the last day of the Longjiang 2 mission, July 31, 2019, there was a strong thunderstorm over Schleswig-Holstein. I was afraid that a lightning bolt would hit the antenna. Next, please. Suddenly, a lightning bolt struck 100 meters away. I turned off the power. Since several radio telescopes were waiting for the result of the last command, I dared to turn the current back on to send the command. We got a picture of the overexposure Earth. Signal demolition, bye-bye Longjiang 2. That was the last moment. The time of the moon visible site was captured by the radio telescope in the Netherlands, and this was important for calculating the impact point and on the backside of the moon. From the data Longjiang 2 last sent calculated, Daniel Estevitz almost exactly the impact location. Next, please. NASA has a satellite called Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. This flies very close over the lunar surface to photograph it. The photographed images are compared with the previous images. Based on the pictures from the USA, the chance was given the exact location of impact. Daniel Estevitz was happy that his calculations were pretty accurate. The deviation was only 300 meters. It's the next. Next, please. Ah, yeah, okay. This image shows the back of the moon with the impact points of previous missions. At the yellow marked location, you will see the impact location. Longjiang 2 causes the 7th crater of about 20 square meters. We were there. I'm glad that finally sent the last commands to Longjiang 2 during thunderstorm. It's the next. Being able to participate in lunar mission was an adventure for all of us that we will never forget. It goes down in history. Do you have any questions? Walter or Gabi will translate this. Thank you.
Reinhard, thank you very, very much. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody. Thank you very, very much, Reinhard. Okay. If you'll clear the screen from the slide, Randall, and just leave the gallery, please. Can you do that for me? Close the screen share. There you go. Close it. Mm-hmm. There you go. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Reinhard, I just cannot imagine the thrill on your part, being thrilled that you were able to cooperate with the Chinese, and then the thrill that your antenna on your property that you own was able to participate in such a monumental event as going to the backside of the moon and shooting those photographs and getting the messages. For as an individual rather than a corporation, because I would think that some big company would be doing this, some large company with many hundreds of people and doing this. But here you are as an individual, you, and I'm sure there was a couple of people who helped you, but you and your small team is able to do this. And I think that is really, really super. I would ask from our audience, if anybody has a question for Reinhard, please raise your hand on the screen. Antonina's got the first one up.
I just translated for him. So ist also ganz erstaunt darüber, wie du als Individuum, als
You're muted.
Dein Ton ist weg.
You're muted.
So,
No.
okay.
No.
Er versteht nicht, wie du als eine Einzelperson dazu kommst, mit den Chinesen zu arbeiten. Wie sind sie auf dich gekommen? Normalerweise kann man sich vorstellen, dass dies eine Sache ist, die ein großes Unternehmen macht. Aber weshalb gerade du? Das ist, wie kommen sie auf dich gerade?
Ja, ich muss dazu sagen, dass ich schon bei mehreren Satellitenrettungen dabei war, insgesamt für die Universität Stellenbosch in Südafrika, ebenso für die Universität in Madrid, aber auch für andere Universitäten, zum Beispiel in der Türkei oder auch jetzt gerade ganz neu für eine Universität auf Hawaii, die Satelliten hatten, die nicht wieder in Betrieb genommen werden konnten, weil Antennen nicht ausklappten. So musste ich durch die Hülle senden, um die zu retten. Das gelingt nicht immer, oft ist der Satellit kaputt, aber um das jetzt so nochmal zu sagen, ich bin in Holland bekannt gewesen.
Lass erstmal übersetzen.
Ja.
Keep it short. Interpretation is going to be difficult when it's so long. If you keep it shorter, it's easy for the interpreter.
Okay, Mr. President.
Okay. Antonina, you had a question.
Wollen wir nicht erstmal übersetzen?
Ja.
You wanted to translate?
Yes, translate first, President Michael.
Antonina, you have a question.
I was thinking that Gabriel have to translate, no?
Okay. No.
Okay.
It depends. It depends on how complicated it is. He does understand some English. So what is the question?
Okay, the question is, I belong to Astronomical Society branch in Belleville, Ontario. And I would be delighted to have you as a guest in our meeting sometimes, or at least to share this recording if Saint Petersburg International will let to do it with our Belleville branch of Astronomical Society of Canada.
Reinhard, sie möchte gern, sie ist ein Mitglied der Astronomischen Society in Belgien, und sie möchte sehr gerne diesen Vortrag auch einmal bei sich haben oder eben eine Aufzeichnung. Aber vielleicht lässt sich das machen, einmal bei Ihnen auch einen Vortrag zu halten.
Wir zeichnen sowieso gerade auf, aber sie leite ich sehr gerne ein, auch bei ihr sozusagen daran teilzunehmen. Wir können auch gerne die Kontakte austauschen und dann. Und wir zeichnen aber sowieso auf. Also ihr könnt dann darüber auch verfügen.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We'll make the connect. Reinhard, we'll make the connection between Antonina and you. We'll make the connection.
Dankeschön. Dankeschön.
President Michael, we missed.
Kai, you have a question?
No, not a question. We missed the translation of the answer of Reinhard from the previous question. It was very interesting. So he told that he was part of a satellite rescue missions. And Gabi wanted to translate.
Half of what I understand, maybe I can just interrupt quickly. For everyone who speaks, maybe we can switch to children language. Say 1 or 2 sentences, and it's easier for everyone to understand and to translate. Reinhard, auch für dich, vielleicht wenn wir gerade die FAQ, Fragen und Antwort machen, fass doch mal bitte deine Antwort ein bisschen kürzer in der Kindersprache, dann ist es leichter, brückchenweise zu übersetzen. Die Übersetzung ist wie folgt. Der Reinhard hat in der in Stellenbosch in Südafrika, wenn ich das richtig vernommen habe, auch eben an Rettungsmissionen von Satelliten teilgenommen. Richtig?
Yes,
so. In English. We heard it in German.
English, please. English.
Yes, that is correct. So he was already a member in the secure satellite security team in Stellenbosch from South Africa. So he was already technically involved in supporting radio or satellite astronomical projects. So he was already supporting them in setting up or rescuing the security systems being already in place. That is something which I heard from the as a question.
And perhaps I can go on. So as well for the university in Madrid, he was working, and for the Turkey and the University of Hawaii, he was working in this direction as well, in this field as well. So he is well known in this field.
Okay.
Vielleicht ganz kurz zur Erklärung, wie das zustande kam. Das habe ich damals zusammen mit dem Dingulo Radioteleskop gemacht, was schon eine Besonderheit war.
He did it with the Dingulo Radio Telescope.
Und die haben sich einfach an mich erinnert und deswegen den Kontakt zwischen China und mir hergestellt, weil die wussten, dass ich sowas können müsste.
So they remembered him already from this project, and they called up on the Chinese to then contact him based on the fact that he was already performing the Dingulo project at first.
Okay. Next question. Anybody else have a question? Any hands up? Questions? Yeah, and Natalia?
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was so interesting. It was so unusual, so amazing. What an achievement for an amateur. And you are not an amateur, I would say. You are a specialist already in this field.
Reinhard, vielen Dank. Es ist unfassbar großartig, wie du das teilgenommen hast als Amateurfunker, obwohl du selbst nicht mehr als Amateurfunker bezeichnet werden kannst in diesem Feld.
Yeah. And now the question. I'm not sure. It seems to me, please correct me if I'm mistaken. But many years ago, Americans took the pictures of the dark side of the moon. I think it was called like this, not the backside. They laughed, or the British laughed at this word. So they already took the pictures of the dark side of
Als
the
die Amerikaner
moon.
bereits die dunkle Seite schon fotografiert oder besucht hatten, dann...
Yeah, and the question is, so what was the advancement, the achievement of this mission, and this achievement, what was the scientific advancement compared to those years, which I don't remember when it was.
Was war der größte Unterschied oder der größte Erreichungsgrad genau deiner Mission im Vergleich zu bisherigen Bildern, die schon eben von der dunklen Seite aus Amerika vorher vorlagen?
Ja, dazu muss man sagen...
Dunklen Seite des Mondes von Amerika.
Ja, dazu muss man, dazu muss man sagen, dass die Mondüberflüge nach den Apollo-Missionen endeten. Und
I have to say that after Apollo missions, the moon missions have been cancelled.
Und das Interesse überhaupt nicht für den Mond da war.
And the moon interest was totally gone.
Deswegen war es für mich ganz verwunderlich, dass ein Bild von meiner Antennenanlage sogar bei der Planetary Society nach den Astronauten veröffentlicht wurde. Ich habe gar nicht gewusst, wieso kommt es dahin, aber heute weiß ich, es war davor überhaupt nichts, was zum erwähnenswert war.
Thus it was very spectacular to realize that even his picture was straight away published in such an immense way just right after the astronaut pictures, and his antenna was also published very much, because since these Apollo missions, there was no interest in doing anything with moon research so forth. So he was himself very surprised about this massive effect to research these radio, audio and visual sounds. That's why it was so spectacular in 2019, and that was the pictures of the news which we saw last year.
Right. Jetzt zu dem Besonderen. Wir normalerweise umfliegen die Satelliten in einer geringen Höhe den Mond.
Usually the satellites surround the moon in a very short height.
Hier ist es so, dass gar nicht solche Bilder möglich werden. Wir haben das erste Bild gemacht, das die gesamte Mondrückseite, aber auch die Erde im Hintergrund zeigt. Das ist einmalig in der Geschichte.
That usually in a traditional way, you cannot technically have pictures which show a two-dimension. Say you have pictures from the moon and something in the back. This was the very spectacular thing. I'm not sure if one could see the picture. Usually you would have pictures from the moon, as we know from the Mars, but here you could have two perspectives and the picture from the moon, the entire side, and the Earth in the background is visible as well. And this is the very unique thing which Reinhard approached and accomplished with his team, with the Chinese people. Is that correct, Reinhard?
Ja, es ist korrekt. Nicht zu vergessen ist aber das letzte Bild, das wir gemacht haben von der Sonnenfinsternis aus der Mondperspektive. Solch ein Bild gibt es nicht. Das ist absolut einmalig und deswegen auch diese weltweite Presse, weil
and also the very spectacular fact is that they created the last picture which shows the sun eclipse, I think it's called, the sun eclipse picture which we saw when the clouds were there and there was a dark space. This has never been photo shooted before at all. Back to you, Reinhard.
Das ist korrekt. Und ein Geschenk der Chinesen an mich persönlich war, dass die den Satelliten umprogrammiert haben, wir eine Verbindung gemacht haben, für die der Satellit davor gar nicht vorgesehen war. Und insofern die erste historische Verbindung in einer Bahn, die bei 400.000 Kilometer lag, gemacht haben. Das ist die
okay, hold on. So the Chinese created a present for him, which he was not aware of, and that consists of. Das Geschenk besteht darin, was war dein Geschenk?
Das Geschenk ist, dass sie mit mir die first ever Verbindung gemacht haben, die überhaupt in einem Mondorbit jemals getätigt worden ist.
So es gibt keine davor. Established a connection from the moon to him, which from a moon orbit, which has also technically never been done before, besides the project.
Und es wird auch, es gab nur eine Verbindung und das wird über viele Jahre die erste und einzige Verbindung bleiben.
And it was the one and only remaining connection has been established and will ever be so far, which the Chinese did accomplish with Reinhard.
Okay. Dies war eine einmalige Chance und ich sage mal so, das ist einfach so, das bleibt immer bestehen, das steht in allen Büchern jetzt, dass ich der Erste war und das hat mich sehr gefreut. Das war
This is a historical moment and it will remain as such until an open time and this was actually the biggest surprise. But I have a question on this part. Reinhard, why will there not be no follow-up?
Deutsch.
Warum? Ich muss immer doppelt sprechen und wir haben auch zwei Sekunden Versatz. Bitte gib mir die Zeit, kurz auszusprechen, dann kommt die Nachricht bei dir an. I wonder, why is there no follow-up moon missions with you or the next year to create more photos on that? Warum gibt es denn keine weiterführenden Projekte, die weitere Fotos oder Ähnliches noch weitermachen werden?
Der Mond war nicht im Fokus des Interesses. Das ist erst jetzt, seit die Chinesen dort sind, also es gibt zwei Dinge, die ganz wichtig sind. Einmal,
previously the moon was not of interest at all since the Chinese started now looking at it. And two factors are playing a major role here, which are
das sind einmal die Bodenschätze. Man wird irgendwann mal daran
denken. The Earth resources are interesting on the moon now. Earth resources, okay. The moon resources, obviously, due to the fact that the Chinese people expected to be finished in a soon area, so that's why the moon becomes more interesting. Yes.
Und ein ganz wichtiger Punkt ist, dass man den Mond als künftige Basis für zum Beispiel Mars-Flüge nehmen wird. Ist es so, dass es viel energiesparender ist, von dort zu starten. Deswegen werden da irgendwann in den nächsten Jahren tatsächlich so Dinge installiert, damit man von dort fliegen kann.
Okay, and the second crucial role next to the resource factor is obviously that economically it is much more interesting and profitable to start missions to Mars and maybe other planets from the moon itself. So obviously the mission moon to establish a settlement for then kicking off missions to Mars or other planets. This is the second major factor why the Chinese have an eye now. And this project and as well as the results have gained such a huge interest and been published in such a way as they did last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Thank you, Walter, and thank you, Reinhard. Any other questions we have for them? Anybody else have a question? I don't see any other hands going up. Gabriella.
Yeah, it's not a question, but I must say you spoke about the team. The team is Reinhard Kühn. He is doing it all by himself, and we have got to know each other around 30 years ago. So he has this tennis, and he is splendid at, and he is really the person who is dealing with this antenna and who is very committed to this issue. So he has no team. He is a single person doing it. And this way, coming to this mission, this is really great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. Very good. Very big accomplishment for an individual. Very big accomplishment for an individual. Yes, Walter.
I'm clapping my hands.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thought you were raising your hand. Excuse me, young man. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Any questions at all? No? No questions. Okay.
I have one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, now I have a question. So do the Chinese contact you for follow-up work on this already? Stehen die Chinesen schon mit dir in Kontakt, weitere nächste Projekte weiterzumachen?
Nein, wir stehen in Kontakt. Wir haben immer noch Schriftverkehr miteinander. Ich habe sogar Masken bekommen, wie hier in Deutschland noch gar keine Masken wichtig waren, wie man zuerst sagte.
Okay.
Und insofern, wir haben Kontakt und es ist im Moment nichts geplant. Ich halte es sogar für absolut einmalig, dass ein Amateur dies jemals wieder machen wird. Das Problem war hier, dass niemand für Europa da war. Sie wollten selbst.
It's interesting that it was a very good project and the Chinese were interested in, but there were no Europeans involved, apart from Reinhard Kühn to that.
Und dann ist es so, dass der Satellit aufgrund einer Unempfindlichkeit so nicht für die gut erreichbar war. Also die hatten Schwierigkeiten, den Satelliten zu erreichen. Und
so it was very difficult due to its sensitivity. I think that was the slide, right? To reach.
Und deswegen durfte ich überhaupt senden. Im Gegenteil, ich musste nachher senden. Ich konnte eigentlich, ich musste immer war in dem Bewusstsein, ich muss diese Termine wahrnehmen, weil die sonst ihre Tests nicht machen können und war wahrscheinlich in diesem Projekt am längsten tätig.
Okay, but the question, why are no follow-up projects planned? Warum werden denn keine weiterführenden Projekte gemacht? Das habe ich nicht verstanden aus der Antwort.
Weil das von der Wissenschaft her im Moment, glaube ich, alles erledigt wurde. Es war ein erfolgreiches Projekt und ich hätte im Moment keine Ideen, welche weiteren Themen die dort an uns geben. Ne?
Okay, so there is no scientific offer for the next rounds, and so far the project has been cancelled, and there's no request for future research.
Okay,
so it has finished now.
Very interesting. Very interesting that an individual should be able to do this. And for those of you who know me, you know that I'm into writing quotes. And I found a quote by somebody else that fits this situation almost perfectly. here is one individual making a difference. So the next time you hear one person say, but I'm only one person, how can one person make an impact? I would offer that you think about the saying from the 14th Dalai Lama. If you think you have no impact as an individual, try sleeping with a mosquito.
Very good, very good.
So it applies here also. One individual doing an awful lot of work, having a huge impact, being recognized around the world for his contributions and his effort and so forth. I have a suspicion that in the next year or two, somebody's going to be contacting Reinhard and say, we need a little bit of help because we're trying to do something. When this pandemic goes away and people are starting to become more prosperous, it may appear again. So Reinhard, don't go too far away. Keep your health up, and you may be doing more great things down the road. Thank you very much. Let's all give him a round of applause again. Thank you very, very much, Reinhard. We appreciate it. Very interesting.
Reinhard, Michael ist davon überzeugt, dass du in den nächsten Monaten oder Jahren ein paar Telefonate bekommst von sehr wichtigen Menschen.
Ich wundere mich immer, dass überhaupt immer noch das Ganze so im Gespräch ist.
Ja, absolut. Doch, sehr große Resonanz.
Okay.
Michael?
Also, dass ein einzelner Mensch so etwas schafft, das ist wirklich unglaublich. Und er hat dann ein Zitat gebracht, dass es gibt immer, ein Mensch kann wirklich eine Entscheidung bringen. Ein Mensch kann etwas verändern. Und so ein Mensch bist du. Mhm.
Man muss jetzt natürlich sehen, ich war als Banker tätig und habe nie gedacht, dass ich nochmal so überhaupt in die Lage komme, so besondere Dinge zu machen und überhaupt nochmal so in die Presse zu kommen. Also es war etwas ganz Besonderes. Und ich bin insofern auch, ich denke immer, Mensch, du hast zum Satelliten gesendet, das war das letzte Signal, das du gesendet hast und danach ist er in die Mondoberfläche eingeschlagen. Ich glaube, das ist auch was ganz Seltenes.
Reinhard, ich weiß nicht, ob du mich sehen kannst. It was very spectacular for Reinhard being a banker and then going back to realizing that there's so much particular interest in actually what he was doing as a hobby. So he was very astonished about what he has reached by that. Okay. Reinhard, ich muss dich ein bisschen cutten, weil aufgrund der Zeit muss Michael President zur Agenda übergehen.
Ja, okay.
President Michael.
Yeah, we need to continue to move. We need to continue to move on for everybody. We got about another 15, 20 minutes here. We'll be finished. Want to talk just briefly about our current project. It's still ongoing, and we are still looking for contributors to our project for our Cerebral Palsy Center. I'm going to take the slide and go to, we still have our project going on of the Cerebral Palsy Center, but known as the Children's Rehabilitation Center. And we are still looking for donors. We are finding clubs now that are contacting us and are asking questions and are interested. We just need to continue to grow it. Our goal for this year is trying to get 10,000 euro, and we will be able to sponsor 4 or maybe 5 children out of that. We still want to go forward and get as many as possible. These children cannot walk, cannot carry on a normal life. They cannot run, play, jump like normal children. They have a difficult time. When they arrive at the center, they're either in a wheelchair or they are carried in. And hopefully, after a number of hours, in this case here, for Goran, about 500 hours worth of therapy, he'll be able to walk out with a pair of shoes that support his legs. He may not be able to stand up and walk normal, but at least he's going to be going in that direction. And the goal is for him to be able to walk unassisted in the future. That's a long-term goal, but the center can get him going in that direction. We want to help more of those children. This is our club's signature project. This is what we want to work on. If any of you are interested in contributing or helping with this project at all, or your club or someone else you know of is interested, please contact myself or Randall. We'll put you in contact with our treasurer and we will make it happen. We will continue on this road to help more children from this center. So this is our project and I want you to know about it. We're going we're going to have let me get where I'm at here. We are going to continue, and we're investigating more opportunities also. We're talking to other people about other projects. We had somebody just contact us in the last couple of days. They contacted Randall and I from Nairobi, Kenya, and Robert Morrow, and he is going to want to talk about his project in the future. We will bring him on board. He has a very, very interesting project about working with the schools in Nairobi, Kenya. So we'll see if you're interested in that. And we want to take a closer look at it to see what's going on. Also, when I meet with the folks down in Israel, when I meet with the Modine Club on the 23rd, I will be going for sure. I'm not sure about the rest of our members, but I will find out about their project. I know they have a few projects going there too. We're looking for opportunities to network. If your organization has a project, please contact us. I know Natalia is on board. I'm sorry, Natalie is on board. And with her Peace Poles project, she just contacted me yesterday. I got a message and she said that there's a person here in St. Petersburg that she'd like for us to contact and talk to about her Peace Poles. And we're going to do that. So we want to network. We want to help spread the Rotary effect of helping people, of giving service to organizations that need help and are looking for help. We want to continue in that vein. So we'll keep going. But our signature project is that Cerebral Palsy Center, the Children's Rehabilitation Center. So that's where we want to keep our focus on. The next item I have is our planning that's coming up for what's on board for us. And for us, we have the next meeting next week is the 17th. We have a closed meeting. Those of you who are part of Rotary, you know that once in a quarter, we have a closed meeting so that we can conduct our financial business, our membership business, those things that we need to discuss at a meeting. It will not be an open meeting. We will not have a guest speaker on the 17th. Currently, we're talking to someone about speaking on the 24th. They have not confirmed yet. So right now we're leaving that open. But on the 3rd of March, past president Alexander Saboni will be visiting us and telling us about our starting of our club, when he started in 2004 and when he was a president in 2007 and 2008. He will be talking about our roots, how we got started. He is one of the founding members. I'm looking forward to him being a speaker and talking to us on the 3rd of March. It's always nice to know about where the group came from that you join. When you join a group, let's find out a little bit about the history. How did they get started? Why did they start? This will be very interesting, and Alexander will be sharing that with us. Those are the notes that I have. Now, I want to go back to the gallery view. Just one second, excuse me here. And I want to find out we have many, many guests on board. Before we start talking to the rest of the guests, I want to find out from our regular active members of our own club. Kai, do you have any comments or anything you want to talk about, Kai?
I'm fine for tonight, Michael.
You are? Okay. Thank you very much. Rami, you got anything you want to talk about this evening?
Okay.
You're all right. Okay. Walter, anything that you want to discuss this evening?
I'm good. Thank you very much, President Michael.
Okay. And Andres Bone.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Sorry for being late. Was due to workload. No special subjects to be discussed from my side. Thank you.
Okay. And I was hoping you were going to be early tonight because our speaker was German, and I thought you would enjoy that. So
it's recorded, no worries.
Of course I would have, but business comes first.
I understand. And it is recorded, Andre. So there is a recording of it. You can watch it at your leisure. So
all right. Thank you.
That'll be fine. For those of you who don't know, Andres is, one second, Kai. Those of you who don't know, Andres is our treasurer. And if you have anything about that Children's Rehabilitation Center, we'll pass it on to Andres because he's a key point there. Yes, Kai, you had a comment.
Yeah, it's just like a funny thing. So I think tonight, like it's all the last meetings, like the Canadians were the biggest group, and tonight it's the Germans, I guess.
That's right. You have your time. We'll allow you, no problem. We're not prejudiced against anybody. This club is wide open to everybody. I'll get to you in just a minute, Gabriella. Hold on. Randall, you're on our members list. Randall?
I'm on your members list, Michael, and I have nothing special to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we have an honorary member who is Gabriella. Gabriella, you had a comment?
Yeah, thank you. I just have a question because I'm very happy that Cesar is with us from Panama. So, and my question is, Cesar, are you a member of the Rotary family? So are you active in Rotary Act? And
what kind?
Yeah. Do you know Rotary, and are you a member of Rotary Act, for example, in Panama? And is Rotary famous in Panama?
No, I'm not a member of the Rotary Club. I went to one meeting with Antonina back in Canada when I was living there. And I'm not sure if here in Panama there's a Rotary Club.
There is. There's at least one, if not two, in Panama. So okay. Yes, I know that there is. 1 second, I'll be right with you, Reinhard. Yeah, there is at least one, if not two, there in Panama, and I know because I contacted them back in 2004 when I was in Colorado doing some other projects. So I do know they have them there. So yes, Reinhard, you had a comment?
Yes, I want to say goodbye. Thank you for your interest, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a good evening, night, and yeah, goodbye.
Come back and join us again. Come back and join us again. Thank you, Reinhard. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to open up the floor to comments. I know there's a few of you who may have a few things to say. If you do, raise your hand and I'll call on you and we'll find out what your comments are. Yes, Naveen.
Okay, hi, it's Niveen from Toronto, and I just wanted to share with you, and I don't know if you're aware of that, on February the 23rd is Peace Day in Rotary. So District 3232 from India initiated an event, and it's called Sun Never Sets in Rotary, and it's connecting the whole Rotary world from all over, and there are a lot of clubs from from Europe, from Turkey, from the Middle East, from us, Canada here, we are joining. So I was wondering if you would be interested, and if so, I can send the information and you can follow up.
Certainly, if you want to put something in the chat box, we record that and we keep track of it. We'd be happy to follow up on it and see, but I have not heard of it. I know there's many projects. I don't know, Naveen, if you've ever gone to the international conference, but when you go to the international conference, there are so many booths and so many things going on. It's hard to stop by and find all the things that are going on. So it's good that you passed it on to us. We appreciate that. If you'll put something in the chat box for us, we'll follow up on it. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Anybody else have any comments? Open to the floor. Antonina.
You just gave me an idea. I was in trouble how to celebrate birthday of my son-in-law, who lives in Saint Petersburg.
Yeah.
Coming in 2 weeks. So now I think that it's just in honor of my son-in-law, the only one. I will donate to project like I did for my daughter.
Very good.
This Romanov Center, Rehabilitation Center.
Thank you very, very much, dear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. For the rest of you who don't know, and there's been a couple of clubs that have helped us. Also, Antonina has already made her own contribution to our Cerebral Palsy Center, the Children's Rehabilitation Center. She has already donated herself to it before in honor of someone, and now she's going to do it again. So thank you very, very much, Antonina. That's a very, very nice gesture. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments from the floor? How about our guest? How about I'm going to ask a guest who is not a Rotarian, Navarra. Did you learn anything this evening?
Absolutely, it was wonderful, and I've always been interested in the world of ham radio, and to find out that even the largest military powers and the largest economies of the world, they need amateurs. So
That's
it's
right.
so wonderful to learn and encouraging that even individuals can be of use to the superpowers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if you go back in history, World War II, there was a tremendous input from the ham operators to help the Allies in World War II. And it was very, very crucial to the success of the Allies defeating Hitler in the war. Ham radios have been around during disasters, typhoons, hurricanes, floods, tsunamis. Ham radio operators have served a lot of people around the world in emergencies and able to find aid for folks. So it's a very interesting thing. As I said, I was only a CB operator myself at home, and CB is one level down from ham, but I had fun with it, but it was nothing like these ham operators. They are much, much more sophisticated. Okay, any other comments from the floor? Nancy, how about yourself from Canada? Nancy?
Sure. I just want to tell the club how much I appreciate the opportunity to be part of your meetings. It's certainly enriched my Rotary world and lots of knowledge. You should know that Felix last week invited us to from the Rotary Club of Modine to the tours, the virtual tours. And on Monday, I participated in one, and it was from Jaffa, Israel. Fabulous presentation. So if you have an opportunity, it's a great experience. So thank you very much for letting me part of your meetings.
Thank you, Nancy. Yes, it was very good. And I know Randall and I both wanted to attend, but something came up and we could not. In Modine, the Rotary Club there has decided that one of their ways of networking is to take a tour of their country. They've picked different cities. They have cameras, their club members go there, and you're actually in the city, actually seeing the scenery, walking right along with them. And I'm going to try and make another one later on because I want to do that. I think it's another way of seeing another country. Maybe even it's something that's going to be picked up here in the near future because of Zoom, that more clubs are going to invite people from around the world to come to their city. Just imagine how many of you have been to Saint Petersburg sometime in your life. You know that Saint Petersburg is full of beautiful, beautiful places to see and interesting places. If someone walked around with a camera, you could take somebody on a tour here. So maybe somebody's going to do that in the future. Hint, hint, Natalia. So maybe we should think about that. Maybe that's a good idea. But there's many people who want to come here, and maybe that's the way to do it. But Modine is the first I've heard about, and I'm glad to hear from Nancy that you give us feedback that they're doing well. So thank you. Mr. Tom Roth, how you doing from Beaverton, Oregon? You're muted, Tom. Tom, you're muted.
Doing well, thank you. Such an interesting meeting. Really appreciate your club and your meetings. You're fabulous in your organization, bringing the world together and giving information. And I look forward to your movie. I have visited St. Petersburg and many times to Moscow, but only once to St. Petersburg. So I would look forward to your video if you make it.
No promises yet, but maybe. No, don't know. David.
Yes, echoing the comment before about that fantastic virtual tour of Old Jaffa. This has tremendous Rotarian potentials for all sorts of things. Peace building, inter-country committees. We are just beginning to recognize our capacities, and stay tuned on that later in February, as soon as the International Assembly for the DGEs is over. But that was a wonderful event. More than about 200 people from 25 to 30 countries.
David, I'm going to give you an idea, put it in your head. You got there partially. I'm going to boost it a little bit. This year's international conference was supposed to be in Taiwan. It's going to be online. Why not contact somebody from Taiwan Rotary and tell them, instead of taking us live through the cities of Taiwan, why don't they do it by camera and on Zoom, and they can show that they can highlight their city to tourists from around the world, but on Zoom. So
excellent friendly amendment accepted. We'll be getting a sponsor from the DC Rotary Club.
Very good. 谢谢你, that's Chinese for thank you. I'm sure they're going to appreciate it. Just an idea. I think that they could highlight their country still like they wanted to, but only now do it by Zoom and by online. So
that, along with you as co-sponsor.
Right, absolutely. Andres, you got somebody with you there, a little man.
Yes, I got a little man with me who brought me my dinner.
Yes. We know who the boss is at your. We know who the boss is at your house. We know.
I have no clue. I have no clue.
We can tell who the boss is. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I think I've covered everybody here. Everybody has spoken. I don't think there's anybody on the screen we have not heard from. Thank you all very, very much for coming this evening. And I'll just make a closing comment and then we're going to depart. We'll stay on board for about another 5 or 10 minutes if anybody wants to chat unofficially, and I will have closed the meeting shortly. My closing comments. As we go into 2021, the expectations are high that things will get better and 2020 is gone. Be careful. 2021, we don't know what it's going to give us. Our expectations are high, our wishes are high, our hopes are high. As Rotarians, we need to keep that positive thought going. Don't let yourself get down on the negative side, even if it's not going as well as we wish it would. We need to keep the positive thoughts. As Rotarians, we are leaders in our community, and we should be leaders with all of our friends and people we come in contact with. Keep a positive attitude. We cannot make promises about 2021, but we can talk positively instead of negatively. It is your choice to either talk positive or talk negative. Nobody can force you to go one way or the other. So I highly recommend, as Rotarians, trying to spread the good word and help more people, let's try talking more positive and eliminating more of the negative, get rid of it. And let's try to help people where we can and keep a positive outlook on life. If we do that, I think that Rotarians around the world are going to be recognized continually for their supporting everybody around the world. Thank you all very, very much. I'm going to officially end the meeting. The meeting is officially ended. We'll be around for another 5 or 10 minutes to chat if anybody wants to. Won't see you next week, but in 2 weeks, okay? Next week, closed meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I need to check out for the DC Rotary Club now. So.
Okay, thank you, David. Bye-bye.